All right, founders, it is time for another pitch deck critique and review. And this time we have Semi. My understanding is this deck was originally in German. I think that's going to be important. I don't know exactly how much we are trying to raise, but it looks like this is a pre-seed deck. And we will take a look at this. Before we continue, my name is Ed Kang, 7-time funding founder, 2Xs. That's just a fancy way of saying I've failed a bunch of times for your benefit. I like to do these videos to help early stage founders, especially raising pre-seed or seed, avoid some of the catastrophic mistakes that I've made during my day. Not to say you're not going to make mistakes, but this is going to help you minimize the damage of those mistakes. If you are a founder and you're looking for your own pitch deck critique and review, please stay till the end of the video. I'll show you how to get that done. I only do reviews of these types of decks if I think learning together is going to benefit everybody, all the founders out there. And in this case, I appreciate what the founder is doing. What I would recommend to you, the founder, as you're watching this, that you take this video and you show it to other people and have them validate or invalidate my feedback. I think this is a very helpful process. Getting the collective wisdom across other people who are joining us on this adventure, I think is extremely helpful. It toughens us up, soft heart, thick skin, getting this type of feedback, and it's only going to prepare you for investors. Let's jump in and let's take a look at this deck. Right away, we have Semi, freelancing web app specializing in manual work. This I actually like. Here's the difference though. Having a one-liner on your cover page is extremely important. It allows you to let the investor know without using buzzy hype or crazy marketing jargon that you, the investor, you're in the right spot, especially if you're interested in something like the future of work, freelancing, the gig economy, things like that. And I like the fact that we've niched down in specializing in manual work. But also, immediately what I'm going to start to think is, what about all the other TaskRabbits out there? What about the other apps? And I don't use these apps a lot, I'll admit, but what about the competition that are in this space? And I know for a fact they have been around for a long time, specializing in manual work. So if you're going to increase the chances of this getting some attention, maybe you want to talk about specializing in Germany or a specific type of market. I don't know what that might be, but separating yourself from other long-standing competition, maybe you have a late mover advantage, you're taking a different approach to the marketplace, that's going to help. Now here we've got this tagline, your handyman just one click away from you. This is the issue here. This is not to the investor. This is to the customer. This is to the user. Sure, that makes sense if I'm looking for a handyman just one click away, but this is the main problem with this deck, and you're going to see this happen over and over again through these slides. This deck talks to the customer versus the investor, and it's extremely important that we make that distinction, because so many founders talk to their customers because they're trying to sell like they're talking to customers and get everybody excited, when really the investor is not excited by the same thing a customer wants to see. So these buzzy words, this slogan, this catchphrase, your handyman just one click away from you, does not make any sense whatsoever for an investor deck. Keep that for your customer deck or your website. Take that out. Now we got an agenda slide. You do not have to do this, because if you just put problem and solution, these little texts that let the investor know where they are in the deck, you don't have to have this slide. You're just wasting time and you're wasting space. And another thing is that investors are going to look at this and go, okay, I appreciate the politeness and I appreciate the formality of this, but I need to get on with it. And as a founder, you're kind of tipping your hand as to the level of sophistication or how understanding or how experienced you are pitching investors. Take this out. Don't let the investor question where you're coming from. Just start right away into the problem. Here's the next slide. 133,000 euros. I think that's the symbol for euros. Please forgive me, I'm in Canada. We work in dollars. But this is how much you can earn per year as a self-employed craftsman. Let me ask you this question. Are you talking to the user? Are you talking to the craftsman? Are you talking to the investor? You are not talking to the investor, and that's extremely important. This slide is completely extraneous as well. Just get right into the problem. You are not trying to set up some type of sales presentation. I don't need to have this set me up and say, where's the problem? As an investor, I'm expecting you to get right into the problem. So don't waste this time. Just get right into the problem. Here we go. Problem slide here, right? That is a good way to tag the slide and where you're at. That's the reason you don't need that agenda, that table of contents. And you have no orders without a network and marketing. You won't get any orders as a self-employed craftsman. Who are you talking to? You're not talking to the investor, that's for sure. You're talking to the craftsman. If you're going to make this a problem statement, you need to talk about in the X billion-dollar handyman task, gig economy for home repairs or something like that industry, there are Y number of handymen or craftsmen that do not have network or the ability to get marketing, so they suffer from orders, and Z number go out of business, or Z number suffer, can't make a living wage. You see what I'm doing here? You want to go the X industry, the size, and the Y number of users that you potentially have are suffering from a problem that creates Z consequences. That is the type of problem statement an investor can understand. We need numbers. We need to understand the scope, the size, and the severity of the problem, the consequences if it's not solved. Furthermore, remember I was talking about TaskRabbit. I want to know what are the other things that these craftsmen do that prevent them from making money. You just look at anywhere online, there's listings, there are classifieds that you can go get help. Why don't they have orders? What are we missing? So this problem statement speaks to the craftsman, not the investor. For this founder, at the end of the video, I'm going to put a video up that I want you to watch that breaks down the problem slide. Also, another ultimate pitch deck guide you want to watch to take in all this advice and see where I'm coming from. Now we get to the solution slide, and it says get orders online. Again, we're not talking to the investor here. Freelance web app just for craftsmen. Understand. Craftsmen can register on Semi and receive orders online via our web app. We make sure that orders come in. Okay, this is a given. There's nothing new or novel in this. And remember, I'm talking about competition here. So I'm going to advise this founder, you need to go back to idea validation and customer discovery and understand the problem. If you're telling an investor that there's an app where a craftsman can just register and get orders, you haven't told me anything different than all the other competitors that are out there. Unless you're telling me that there's no such website that exists in Germany, then I'm going to start believing you if I'm actually going to be looking at the data. But right now, I don't believe that this is a unique solution. Furthermore, going back to the problem, if the solution doesn't flip the problem, then you've lost me. Here, you said the problem is craftsmen don't have network and they don't have marketing. So then how does your app solve the problem with getting in orders? How does it solve it with marketing and increasing a craftsman network? You see what you set me up for, but you didn't deliver the goods in the solution. Again, I'm going to recommend go back to customer discovery and idea validation and really research whether this app is actually different. What makes it different? What do you know that the competitors don't know? Because that's the first thing that's going through my mind as an investor if I look at a solution like this. Here are the details. This really needs to be a how it works slide, and there's too much information. I don't know what's going on. I'd rather see you just go step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, craftsman signs up, but I need to know what is different. If you're telling me a craftsman signs up, creates a profile, says what services they're going to offer, uploads their picture, puts their prices up, and the customers come and get it because this is a marketplace and they get an order and they can pay for that order right online, you haven't told me anything different. This differentiator has to be baked into the how. You have to say something like, normally craftsmen would go here and do this on these other websites, but in our case, in case of Semi is different because of this, this, and this. These are the steps, and this is how it works. That's what I'm looking for. Target customers and their benefits. I don't know what you're trying to get to in this slide, maybe ideal customer persona or a market validation, but let's look at this. Craftsmen, access to orders, better pay for the same work. Again, you're not telling me anything different. Of course, any other competitor is going to say this when they're promoting to other craftsmen. Individuals can find craftsmen, businesses do not accept small orders. Maybe you're getting somewhere in this. Maybe you're trying to say, we actually accept small orders because the competition only does big orders, but you haven't expanded on that. And then crafts businesses simply replace the absence of your own craftsman. I don't understand what this statement says. So this is a big question mark here. And I understand that we're talking about this translate from German. Maybe it comes across better in German, but I have a feeling that the same principles are going to apply. You haven't told me anything unique and different about this startup. The competition. This slide needs to go later in your slide deck. Again, wait till the end of the video to watch my ultimate pitch deck guide to know the order of the slides. We've got crafts businesses prefer large orders. Now, here's the issue. This is not your competition. Crafts businesses prefer large orders. I thought you were going to put crafts businesses on your app. Maybe I'm wrong here. Crafts businesses that have poor or no internet presence. How's that competition for you? Fluctuating quality and poor pay. These are all problem conditions that are occurring. You haven't told me anything about your competition. I want to know Who is TaskRabbit in your area, and how are you different? That's what needs to go on a competition slide. Semi, small orders can be accepted. I'm thinking to myself, in TaskRabbit, small orders can be accepted. And you may not have TaskRabbit in your country, but I'm expecting you as a founder to have researched every single possible competitor, and I want to know other apps that take small orders or have tried to take small orders, and why haven't they succeeded? Our focus is online presence. You're not telling me anything different. Of course, everything needs to be focused on online presence. The customer chooses Craftsman himself and thus receives the quality he expects. I'm expecting that is a given in all the other competition. Better pay for the Craftsman. How does that help me? Does that help me in the sense that I pay normal prices, but there's less commission on your app, and therefore that helps the Craftsman make more money? You have not explicitly told this to me. Therefore, I am missing all the details that I need on a competition slide. Germany in the numbers, this would be a market slide. Why now? Maybe a market validation, market sizing slide. 659 billion euros in crafts total. I don't know what that number means. Of what? Is that the entire size of the industry? If so, then that is not your total addressable market, because you are dealing with how many people hire craftspeople and what they pay. And then you want to talk about how much money you could be making if you make all those transactions. We're getting to 313 billion euro in sales, construction and finishing industries. How is that different from crafts? And then 13 billion euro, 5% of sales in the main construction and finishing industry. I don't know who's making that 5% of sales. Is that you? Do you plan to make 13 billion? That seems to be a very, very large number. But as I look at the source, I'm thinking that you've done a top-down market analysis. This is similar to saying cybersecurity is a $2 trillion industry. If we take this amount of transactions and we make 1%, we're all going to be rich. Yay. This doesn't really work. So Germany in the numbers, which then reinforces the reason I think you need to focus on Germany. This is a top-down analysis. Go bottom up. Calculate the number of craftsmen that could be using your service. And if they pay what you're expecting them to pay, how much money are you going to make? And then if customers find these craftspeople and they pay what you're expecting them to pay, how much money are you going to make? Remember, this is a marketplace, so you need to calculate it from a bottom up like a marketplace. Business model. We take 5% commission on every order. That's straightforward. I can accept that. 13 billion total order size via Semi. Now you've convoluted your business model with market size. If you're saying 13 billion total order size via Semi, then you're talking about what the potential is. This is not your business model. 5% commission, you've already said this. 5% commission, 650 are turnover in 1 year. I don't understand what this is. A business model slide is how we make money. That's all I want to see on this. Don't mess it up by adding too much information and distracting me. If it's just 5% commission on every order, just say it. Our business model is we take 5% commission on every order. Make it that simple. But what I am wondering is what your competitors charge, and does this actually lend to craftsmen getting paid more? Or are you saying the volume of business makes them get paid more? I'm not sure, because you lost me all the way up to this point in time. The market gap, now we're in a competitive slide. Let's read this. Market gap under freelance web apps. Freelance web apps, on-site work. Until now, orders are submitted online, suitable for programming, artistic work. Okay. You're saying we introduce orders completed on site, suitable for craft activities. I do not understand what the difference is. This is combining a competitive slide plus a how it works slide. You've lost me here. This is, again, where I want you to go back and study what the competition is doing, what is happening in the marketplace. Marketing and growth, start locally and gradually expand. Land and expand, I understand that. But here is the issue here. How are you planning to do marketing growth? Now, this is a little more like a projection slide. You're saying in 2024, you're going to be in these areas. And then in 1 year, you're going to be in all of Germany. That is 1 year later. If you can grow that fast, trust me, investors are going to put a lot of money into you, but you haven't proven anything. And saying that you're going to go to Europe 1 year later, and then 2027, you're going to expand internationally. We're talking about going locally to internationally in 3 years. That is a really big leap. And so I don't believe you. I want to know how. If you're going to do a go-to-market slide, you're going to talk about your marketing growth, I need to see the tactics. And these need to be novel tactics that tell me that you can be scalable extremely fast. Maybe you've got some type of hack that investors don't know about. Well, explain it to me, because right now I don't believe you. This just seems like pie in the sky, wishful thinking. You haven't given me any teeth. You haven't given me any meat on these bones for me to believe that you're going to have these projections. Here's another slide for market entry, development, test test phase. These are more like milestones. This is not your market entry. Again, I recognize you might be having translation issues, but these types of Gantt charts don't really create credibility because you just don't know if you're going to be able to hit these milestones. Financial forecast, 5-year plan, German market. You see where now you've created a contradiction because in 5 years, you said you're expanding internationally. Well, why don't we have a forecast that's 5 years internationally? But it makes more sense, 5-year plan in the German market. This is actually a little better. However, never do this. This is a bad idea because you're basically saying your startup is going to naturally grow up and to the right in this nice hockey stick parabolic curve. That is not reality. It never even works like that with startups that have product market fit. Most of the time, startups go like this, and this is how they're supposed to grow, but you don't have enough information. These are not pressure tested assumptions. They're not battle tested. You don't know if you can actually hit those numbers. You say you're calculating based on market size for the given year, plus 1% of the market size was used. Following year, 5% total achievable size. For all of Germany, 1.5 is an intermediate value. It doesn't make any sense. You're adding growth factors in here that you just don't have any data to support. Don't put this in because investors are just going to believe that you're a founder that doesn't understand how startups actually grow, and you don't know how to do a financial model or projection for that matter. Leave the financial slide out in your screener deck. Wait until due diligence, if you get to that point in time, to show your financial model. Use of funding. This is a really good example of what not to do for founders. So we got use of funding. How much? I don't know how much you're trying to raise. Remember, when you're doing a funding slide, you want to say, we are raising X amount of dollars to hit Y milestone in Z time. So you want to say we're raising $1.5 million to reach 100,000 users and make $300,000 in 18 months, something like that. But use of funding, living expenses. I don't want to see this. I have worked full-time on Semi and I have no additional income. Who cares? And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm sympathetic and empathetic to all founders that are bootstrapping, but investors don't need to see this. In fact, investors are going to start to worry because you are just talking about your personal runway. So what are you raising money for? For growth, for development, to advance your startup, or to pay your living expenses? Marketing here, budget for marketing, web app includes billboard advertising, internet. You haven't explained to me your go-to-market strategy. You haven't mentioned billboards or anything up to this point in time, but you do want to create all these line items in terms of what you're using your marketing for, which you mentioned here in your third bullet. If necessary, technical support for the development of the web app includes, for example, UI, UX design, or back end. You're telling me if necessary. I don't know. How have you planned this out? If you say if necessary, so that means you're going to take a big pile of my money and you're going to spend it if necessary, then why would I give you that money? It doesn't make any sense. You haven't shown me that you actually have thought through what your use of funds is, and that's a big red flag here. Here's the founder profile slide, which really is the team slide, and we've got the CEO and the founder. You have a computer science degree, and you have an art high school diploma. I do not care if you have an art high school diploma. If you're building a tech product, I don't care if you've gone to art school. Congratulations, you went to art school, and I'm sure it was a good experience for you, and you're probably a great artist. But to me, the investor, it doesn't make any sense. It's not relevant. Father is a self-employed Tyler existing craftsman network. This is the interesting thing. In fact, you telling me that you've got domain expertise because you've watched your father do this. I want to hear more of that story. You might want to bake that into your pitch deck later on, because that's going to help say, all right, even though you went to art school and you're not a craftsman yourself, you know what it's like to solve a problem for a craftsman. Now, here's what you have going for you. You are technical, which is the reason I think what you have to do, and I'm just going to be very direct with you here. I think you have to go and actually build something and show something before you start raising money for it. Contact, let's put your contact on a separate slide so you don't have to have that here. Let me talk directly to the founder here. I appreciate what you are trying to do. As soon as I got to that last slide, I start to empathize more. But I'm letting you know investors do not empathize like I do. So let me talk to you as if I'm your advisor. Think of me as your YouTube advisor right now. Prove to me you can actually do this. And prove to me you can go and solve the problem for your father. Go wrap your arms around the problem. Research it. Go talk to them. What have you used in the past? Why aren't you on TaskRabbit? Why don't you have your own website? Look and see the different gaps in the marketplace and code for them. Go and talk to customers and say, what have you done in the past? How have you hired different craftsmen in this area? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? And show me, the investor, that you have done this research, and show me how you are going to be different. If you can go solve this problem in a unique way for your father and show the results, and all the other craftsmen are going to come on board because they're going to be looking at your father saying, how are you doing great margins, getting all this business, building your network. I want to be a part of that as well. That's the story investors want to see. And let me encourage you, I love the fact that you're doing a pitch deck for this stage of the game. Go and look up what I call the idea validation deck. I've got videos like that on my channel and how you sell your app to customers and potential investors right away in the beginning. And it requires idea validation. You go to the market and you say, I've got a different idea than what is out there, than what my competitors are doing. Therefore, I want you to support me. And I'd like to keep you posted if I can make it work. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to sit in my basement and I'm going to code away and I'm going to just come out with a minimum viable product that works for my father, that proves that I'm going to do something different in the marketplace than all the other competitors are doing. If you can do that in Germany, you can do that anywhere. That's how you start. So I'm going to send you back to the drawing board, send you back to customer discovery and idea validation. And I look forward to hearing from you in the future. In the meantime, watch these videos that I'm going to put on the screen because that's going to be the education that I want you to have so that when you do come back to me, I'm expecting good things. I'm expecting progress. And if you're a founder out there and you want your pitch deck critiqued and reviewed, just like this courageous founder, leave a comment and I will tell you how to submit that. I appreciate everybody's support. Please encourage this founder. Let me know what you think about this pitch deck critique and review. I'll see you in the next video.